Hello, everyone. I am Matheus Furlaneto. I am the Chief Administrative Officer from the Global Alliance, and I'd like to welcome you all for being here today to the second day of the webinars for Global Student and Young Practitioner Month, chaired by our colleague from the Philippines, Pista. I'd like to welcome all our guests today, Ms. Irene Chipili from Zambia, Ms. Roksana Obuchowska from Poland, José Manuel Velasco from Spain, Hemant Gaule from India, Pista also from the Philippines is going to talk to us, and our moderator for today, Mr. Peter Mutie. So I'm going to present our moderator, and then he will be hosting you throughout our webinar today. So Peter Mutie is a communication specialist with experience spanning over 2 decades. He holds several portfolios in both professional and corporate leadership. Peter is currently a board member for Global Alliance and also the Regional Council Chair for the African region. He's a former Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Film Commission, a founder board member of both Brand Kenya Board and Media Council of Kenya. Between 2007 and 12, Peter served as the president of the Public Relations Society of Kenya. He's currently serving in a number of other roles in consultants at both continental and global levels, besides being a consultant with the UN on strategic communications. Peter is a senior member of the International Public Relations Associations, IPRA, and is a fellow of both APRA and PRSK. Peter is also a recipient of PRSK Golden Honor Awards, the highest and lifetime award that recognize outstanding achievement in PR in Kenya. So Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Matheus. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of the world you are in. It's a pleasure to have you on board this second day of the Student and Young Practitioners activity. This month is the thematic month for Global Alliance, where we focus on students and young practitioners. And the chair for that activity is one good friend of mine called Pista. Anna, thank you very much for the good job you've done to prepare the events of yesterday and today. We have a lineup of very exciting global speakers drawn from all over the world, from Europe, Asia, Africa. So this is truly a global activity. And I will be introducing the speakers to you. And if you have any questions, please post them on the chat. We will look at those questions, and during the interaction section, we will respond to the questions. Otherwise, welcome aboard, and it's a pleasure to have you. I would like to request Anna to take us through the opening presentation that will set the grounds for the discussions. Anna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Peter. You know, hearing the profile of our speaker, of our moderator here, I'm just in awe. And you know, there's so many things and so much to share, to be shared today, and with the great speakers that we have. So first off, allow me to thank our esteemed guest speakers, Mr. Peter Mutie from Africa, Ms. Irene Chipili, also from Africa, Mr. Hemant Gaule from India, Mr. José Velasco from Spain, Ms. Roksana Obuchowska from Poland, and of course, Mr. Matheus Furlaneto from Brazil. Thank you for giving us your time despite your very hectic schedules. We are privileged and honored to have you. To all our young practitioners attending this event today, your presence is highly appreciated. We are very happy that we can now meet with you and do activities together again, albeit virtually, to celebrate our annual Student and Young Professional Month, spearheaded by none other than the Global Alliance. Our president, Mr. Justin Green, together with your esteemed speakers, are doing this yearly. By the way, this is the second year that we are doing this to assure and ensure the future of the PR industry is bright and promising. In a nutshell, this session hopes to give you 3 items in bullet points. Number 1, an access to activities that can help expand your knowledge and networks. Number 2, an avenue to develop a greater appreciation of the PR profession. And last but not least, a better understanding of the vital role you are to play once you join the industry. This is our simplest way of engaging and further steering your minds and hearts for you to appreciate and join the ranks of PR professionals and ultimately be the next generation leaders of future of the industry. Now, before we proceed, I would like to first show you a quick overview of the PR profession, source of which are Global Alliance themselves, a survey done in 2022 this year, and that of ICCO World PR 2022-2023. Okay, so this is it. This would be very relevant in our discussion as a point of discussion where we could base our topic as well. So next slide, please. We'll give you an overview, the PR trends and insight from around the world. Let's start. Okay. As young practitioners in the communications and PR industry, what do you know about our workforce? This is the data. Number 1, in terms of PR workforce, the number of PR professionals per country, China has 5 million. Indonesia has 1.09 million. Third, USA, they have 243,000 practitioners. France has 224,000. Number 5 is Peru with 40,500. New Zealand has 10,000 practitioners. Finland has 8,000 practitioners. Canada has 6,400 practitioners. Puerto Rico has 1,750 practitioners. Kenya has 3,000 practitioners, and the Republic of Ireland, 3,000. So that's the ranking of in terms of the number of workforce per country. Next slide, please. In terms of economic value and job opportunities, so if you guys are looking for job globally, this is the data. Finland has the most number of employed workers in-house. That's 90%. Kenya has 80%. Indonesia has 67%. Canada, 59%. USA, Puerto Rico are last with 25%. In terms of agency work percentage, the USA ranks first. It has 55%, followed by China, 42%, Ireland, 35%, and Indonesia, 28%. At the bottom pack is Finland, 4%. Puerto Rico has the most number of self-employed PR practitioners, or we call them publicists, at 50%, followed by Canada, 22%, the USA, 20%, Ireland, 10%. Finland and Kenya bring up the rear with 2% and 0% respectively. As for the value of PR profession to the national economy, meaning how these professionals contributed to the economy of their country, and the world, the USA is tops with 17.3 billion. Next is China with 11.3 billion, followed by Ireland, 1.2 billion, Canada, 775 million, and Indonesia, $760 million. Next slide, please. In terms of average salary, I think you're gonna be very interested with these countries evaluated. Ireland offers the highest average salary of 74,000. I think this is on a yearly basis. New Zealand 60,000, Canada 55,000, USA 54,000, China 23,000, Kenya 12,000, Indonesia 10,000 in US dollars. So if you are planning to migrate and still work in the PR and communications industry, it is good to note on the figures of how much the salary is in these particular countries. In terms of age, okay, so am I young? Can I get a job somewhere else? Or I'm already 65. Can I get a job under communications and PR still in other countries? So here it is. In terms of age, Indonesia has the most number of young professionals aged 18 to 24. That's 31.4%. China has the most number of 25 to 34 years old, which is 65%, pretty much young. USA has the most number of 35 to 44 years old, most probably old millennials and Generation Xers, that's 40%. Canada has the most number of 45 to 54 years old, that's 31%. And Puerto Rico has the most number of 55 to 64 years old, 25%. So surprisingly, even those age 65 and above are still being employed in the PR industry, with Puerto Rico at the top of the leaderboard with 20%, followed by Canada and Finland with 16% and 13% respectively. So if you still can work and still love to work and still has the grit and passionate about the job, the future is long for you young practitioners, because up until 65, you can still do what you love doing in the PR and communications world. Next slide, please. Now, what are the threats facing PR companies, practitioners in the profession? I think you need to know this per country. Like in Canada, the problem there in this industry is the financial constraints on companies post-pandemic, downsizing, and budgetary cutbacks. Of course, budget. Number two, reputational risk from non-ethical practitioners. So in Canada, there are, a lot of non-ethical practitioners, so to speak. So this is one of their concerns. It's also their concern. Misinformation and fake news is also a main concern for them. Inaccurate, including data and people sources. So I think it's the same in the Philippines. Another threat in Canada is negative social media or campaigns. Now let's go to Puerto Rico. AI and deepfakes is a threat for them. Value perception weakens relative to increase of non-PR related companies offering related similar services. And of course, shrinking news media outlets. In the Philippines, from 13 daily publications, traditional media, now we have like 6. Same with Puerto Rico. In China, lack of recognition among PR professionals. This is a main problem. Lack of professional training, lack of professional personnel, and the challenge of continuous learning and career promotion brought by the change of media environment. If you go to Indonesia, their threats and concerns are financial constraints. Companies are not really putting their budget into PR. It's always being questioned. Budget cuts, less important than other functions. Perspective that PR is just a staff function, not management, not strategic, not consultancy. That PR competencies and skills are lacking. And of course, globalization, career handled by professionals with fluent English, other international language. So there's a struggle with the language in terms of being and getting global in terms of doing things. In Finland, concerns would be organizational commitment, and then weak work engagement, and of course, mental health issues. Next slide, please. Let's go to Ireland. Their problem is staffing, lack of professional, 100% employment. Fake news, lack of professional legislation practice. In France, their concern is loss of attractiveness of jobs related to communication. It says that communication jobs are perceived as moderately attractive by the majority of the respondents. I don't know why. Then in Kenya, there's a weak financing of the HR function and placement of the PR function in unfitting organization structures. Some cases, PR is lumped with legal services. So it's a mix of everything. So the PR job per se is not really defined, you know. In New Zealand, staying relevant as they face different and competing organizations is a main concern. And of course, good staff are an issue as we now do much more in New Zealand. People do not tend to specialize per se and will do internal events, reputation, etc. So what we're saying here is the specialization. In Peru, there's a confusion between public relations, advertising, marketing, and social media. And of course, the proliferation of misinformation and disinformation, fake news surrounding the country. Those are the threats. Okay, next slide, please. So that's the Global Alliance survey. And now we go to ICC Award PR report. Next slide, please. This would give you a landscape revealing the issues, trends, and opportunities for agencies across Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, Latin America, the Middle East, North America, and the UK. Next slide, please. Who took part in the survey? The PR leaders, directors, and agency owners. Okay, what's the good news? There is an expected increased profit in the face of the global challenges. Even though there's pandemic or we just got through and pass through the pandemic, I hope it won't stay longer and everything would be over. There is an expected increased profit in the face of the global challenges. On a 10-point scale, the global average was again 7.3. Respondents in North America are very much positively saying that there's an increase in profit. That's 8.2%. Latin America says 79%, 7.9 I mean. Asia Pacific 7.8. And they are the most confident. While in the UK, there was markedly less optimism with an average score of 6.6 out of 10, and Europe a little higher at 6.9. Overall, we are to expect increased profits in the face of the global challenges. So that's good news for you, young practitioners. Next slide, please. When asked on what extent responded with a statement that I expect an increase in agency profitability this year, broken down by regions, North America was the most bullish with a score of 8.0, alongside Latin America at 7.7. Respondents from UK were again by the far the least optimistic with a score of 6.4%. Next slide, please. Where does companies pay more attention to this 2022? More companies paying closer attention to corporate purpose. That's 7.2%. CEOs are taking corporate reputation more seriously. That's 7.3%. And looking at the decade ahead, 10 years from now, strategic consulting and purpose and ESG sit well ahead of the list of skills that will be required by PR professionals around the world. Next slide, please. Where does companies invest on? ESG is in the top 2 investment areas for every region in the world, with 44% overall saying they were expecting increased spend. Influencer relations with 36%, saying they expected additional spend up from 29% last year. And in third place was strategic consulting, up to 30% from 25% last year. There was also an interesting shift on ethics, with many more PR agencies saying they have turned down work from ethical reasons this year, 76%. It is important to note that the top ethical challenges for the PR professionals were pressure from clients, misinformation, a lack of consequences for unethical clients, and financial pressure. Retaining key talent is the #1 challenge. So listen, young practitioners, retaining key talent is the #1 challenge as it was in 2021. With this issue especially pronounced in APAC and 8 Africa regions, followed by motivating younger staff and developing junior staff. Next slide, please. I'll make it quicker. So according to Grzegorz Stepanski's, the importance of peer professionals is being increasingly recognized as organizations and leaders face greater scrutiny from a more discerning public. Next slide, please. So in meeting the demands, we have to invest on people. ICCO president said, to meet this high demand and growing range of services, it is crucial for agencies to invest time and energy into creating an environment that fosters both professional and personal growth. Otherwise, we're at the risk of watching premier talent exit our industry. I will end it with this. So, to the young professionals listening today, there is a high demand for you in the workplace. There is really a place for you in the communications and PR industry, and this would be more expounded and explained to you by our guest speakers. I now give the floor to our moderator, Peter Mutie, to expound more on what we've said.
Thank you very much. Anna, that was a good presentation. You've set the mood for this discussion, and therefore we would like to go straight into the panelists whom we have lined today. And I will start with presenting to you a professor of communication, branding and intangibles at Nebridge University and UNIR, and professor of rhetoric at the IESE Business School. This is José Manuel Velasco. He has vast experience in teaching and coaching executive teams and CEOs to improve their leadership by enhancing their communication skills. And I can attest to that because I have interacted with José for quite a while. He has taught in multinational companies such as Novartis, the list is long, Siemens and others. He combines his professional expertise garnered as the head of communication at several large companies with his coaching skills and academic career. We say that the best way to understand PR is actually to practice it. And José has practiced and it is now training. He is the first Kenyan to chair the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management, 2017 to 2019. He was actually our chairman of the Global Alliance, the president, sorry. And José's work experience includes 30 years, 30, leading PR departments in large and listed companies. So, what a great gentleman he is, and what a great trainer José is. Welcome. Take us through the first presentation. We want you to first tell us, in case I decided to embark on a career in PR, how would I prepare myself? What qualities should I develop to become successful?
Hi everybody. Thank you, Peter, for your very kind introduction, and thank you and congrats, Anna, because you are doing a great job in the Global Alliance, especially with this month that is dedicated to young people, young practitioners, and also students. According to the research you have introduced, I have to move to Puerto Rico because, because my age recommends me to go to Puerto Rico to keep practicing public relations. That is my passion. Answering Peter's questions, I have 6 advices to become an appreciated, desired, and competitive public relation professional. So I am speaking for students and young practitioners. The first one is to be the person you are and the person you want to be. Being the person you really are, you show authenticity, a very appreciated trait at these times, because nowadays there are a lot of fakes, and we say in Spanish, postureo. Postureo is like posturing or simulated characters. And trying to be the person you'd like to be, you are showing your wish, your ambition to grow and to become a better professional. The jobs market likes this kind of transformational ambition. Second advice, it could sound a little bit strange, but wait to the end of the thought. Your parents love you, but they don't have always the reason, because they advise you from their experience and their perspectives. Of course, pay attention to your parents. They want the best for you, but find more mentors, people who could guide you and take care of you from various perspectives. Listen carefully to all advices, but finally make your own decisions. Third advice, you are your brand, so take care of your personal brand from the very beginning. You build your brand through the things you do and also through the things you say. Be coherent between doing and storytelling. Tell your story from your learnings, challenges, and achievements. Fourth advice, this profession is not about content, but relationships. Create a strong and enduring professional network. Manage the network and contribute to it, providing interesting content. Fifth, in this world, there are two types of professionals: the one who makes decisions and the one who follows the decision of another. Brave. You have to have a strong courage to make decisions, which means to be right sometimes, to be wrong other, but always learn from mistakes. And the last one, the fifth, don't forget to have fun. Fun is needed not only to relax, but also to feed your creativity. We need to train our wandering mode brain. That means to give a space and time to your brain to think openly without barriers and to put in order your daily inputs. Enjoy, travel, love, experience, live a full life. Fortunately, this wonderful profession will provide you a lot of opportunities to explore, discover, learn, and enjoy the journey. I think you're in mute, Peter.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much, José. I like that bit of having fun, because you are supposed to work hard and enjoy hard as well. But now we have gone through a pandemic in the last 2 or so years, from 2020 actually. José, how has COVID changed the industry? And what are the most relevant PR jobs that have emerged since the pandemic?
Yes, I think the pandemic has accelerated 3 trends that are very related to public relations. The first one is obvious, is digitalization. Think, for instance, in the boom of video conferences. We are always doing video conferences, and it's a good way to engage, to reach other people, and to be really global. Second trend that has been reinforced is internal communication. People first. Remember, our company is saying people first. So people first. So we have to communicate more and better with employees. And employees are become very important ambassadors of the brand, internal and externally. And I think the third trend has been reinforced is mental health. Mental health needs a lot of communication, need also a lot of managing emotions. I think for us, it's a challenge to become managers of emotions, because many of the conflicts we are facing are emotional, are not rational. That means that there is a professional opportunity for us managing emotion and improving the climate of our organization to create a safe environment for creating communications.
Thank you very much. I think that aspect of digital infusion into the work of PR is very, very prominent in all that we do now. I mean, programs like Zoom and other applications were unknown some 3-4 years ago. Now we are able to transact globally, and I think anybody who is not very digital or digitally conversant with the latest applications, they will struggle. So finally, before we go to the next speaker, José, young practitioners are asking, besides agencies, where else do they find employment?
Okay, I think we have the capacity to create our own job. I have to tell students and young practitioners, don't be worried too much about the legal form or the nature of your laboral contract. Think about your contribution, your skills, your outputs, and also about what makes you different. Why, if I were a recruiter, I have to choose you? There are jobs available in public relations departments of companies, public relations agencies, public affairs companies. That I think there is a confluence between public affairs, communication, and also marketing. There are jobs available, maybe not too much, in media companies, media outlets. Also in companies that are providing contents, branded contents, for instance. But anyway, we can work in PR departments, but I think we can also work in talent departments, commercial departments, governance department, ethical departments, and of course, marketing departments.
Thank you very much, José, and I would like to encourage the participants, if you have questions, please post them in the chat. We will have an open session after all the presentations are done, and these eminent presenters will respond to your questions. I would like to go to our next panel member, and this eminent lady is a member of board of the Polish Public Relations Association. And also she is a member of the European Regional Council of the Global Alliance. And Roksana is also a senior global communications expert in the change management and communication team at Mark Business Solutions. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. Hello, I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah,
you were muted, Peter, as well. Just, yeah, I couldn't hear you, sorry.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you very well.
Oh, perfect, thank you. So thank you very much for having me. I was thinking, what can I share with you as I'm in Poland and you are worldwide, and I thought that maybe the best angle to talk about PR and communication would be just tell you a bit about corporation and about the environment I am working for, because when I'm working with students, when I am having sessions with them and trying to explain them what they can expect in the future, I tend to focus on tools we are using, on people management, on these skills you might have and these skills you might also acquire. So when I think about public relations and the future of this of our workplace, let's say, there's plenty of space for all of us, I think, and also we have different skill set, we have different approaches to communication, and it's good actually. So you don't need to follow one's example. You just need to find your own path, and you need to define what are your strengths, and also you need to be aware of your weaknesses, right? But when you define your strengths, it will be very easy for you to find a perfect workplace for you. So you might be good in technology, you might be good in talking to people, you might be good in writing press releases or writing articles. So these are the skills you may develop when working for a corporation or working for a PR agency. There is also one important thing I would like to talk about today, that within this worldwide approach, I would like to encourage you to look for jobs also outside of your country. You can work remotely. You can try to work with people from different countries, and actually the diversity and, let's say, the different flavors of human beings we can face when working for corporations or for companies, worldwide. It's very unique, and this is something which may enrich you, and I really encourage you to do so, to try to look for some possibilities with companies based in other countries or based in your country, but international companies. That's something you can start with, and it will be very, very interesting for you.
Thank you, Roksana. One of the questions that young practitioners are asking is, what is the future of public relations compared to other professions? In your perspective, what do you think is the future of our profession?
So I think that the future is bright, for sure, but I think that we need to be more open for the changes we face. Like I think about societies and communities we are living in, because as José mentioned, it's all about keeping relations with people. It's all about people. All the things about, let's say, talent retention, and I've mentioned, and all the programs we are focused on in corporations. It means that the main asset for us, the most important thing for us, for communications people, and let's say for PR professionals, are people, other people. So we need to be able to find a proper channels to communicate with them, the proper words to communicate with them. So I think that the future is bright, because when you're working with people, I think this is the best actually job you can have. So to build relations, just to talk to them and just to try to understand them and try to tell the stories you have. So that's it. But also we need to keep moving. We cannot stop. We need to think about tools. We need to think about changes, about the geopolitical changes and the geopolitical situations we are facing. So we need to be open-minded. We need to be up to date, and we need to be able to find the proper words always to talk to people.
Excellent. Just tell us your experience during the pandemic, how that impacted how you do your work as a PR expert.
So when actually pandemic started, it was a massive. It was a massive change for us. You cannot say it wasn't. And I was working for a different corporation back then. So from the first day, we had to communicate back then to 5,000 people in Poland. So we had to implement some processes. We had to inform them about the changes. So actually, we as PR professionals and PR communication people, we were the information source, I would say. So we were the people they were looking for some information, and also and when they weren't feeling good, they were coming back to us. So I would say that for PR professionals, start of the pandemic was from one side, it was difficult for us because we had to find our own way of working, new way of working. But on the other hand, we're responsible for other people. So for our target groups, let's say, for the people we're working for. So that was double responsibility. And actually, it was very difficult at the beginning. It was very stressful, of course, because you need to use right words all the time. You need to keep on moving. You need to be updated, even if your government isn't. So it was, a very difficult. We had to translate documents from English to Polish, and also think about the Polish law regulations, etc. So it was very stressful, but also it gave me a big lesson that it showed me how important relations are and how important it is for us to be these people for our people, right? So we are the comms expert, the comms professionals. So we are the people they can find proper information and they can learn more from, right? So we are the advisors, let's say. So for me, pandemic changed a bit our perception of the industry, of our role, let's say. It learned us new things. But also, it was just, I would say, one hit, because later we had a war in Ukraine, which was very, very stressful for my country. So in Poland, you can imagine how we were struggling with it. So it's my perception that actually we started with pandemic, but just through these years we are facing very, very different issues. And I think that this pandemic and all the situation just somehow prepared us for different challenges. So yeah, so that was I would say that was it in a brief.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. And for the young practitioners, you may want to know that one of the key interventions we do as PR people is crisis communication. And crisis will keep recurring. We will move from a pandemic to something else to, so many other crises that will come our way. And I think at some point we may want to talk slightly about how we manage crisis, because if you are coming into public relations, for sure, you'll face a crisis and you'll have to manage it. Now, so we have heard from Spain, Poland. Now we are crossing to another continent, Africa. And we have with us Irene Chipili. Irene is a communication professional with more than 15 years. She is currently the president of Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communications Management, which is a professional body enacted by an act of parliament. Underline that, act of parliament in 2022 to, among other functions, self-regulate public relations and communication professionals in Zambia. Leadership was crucial in getting this legislation, which is a significant milestone in the PR profession, not only in Zambia, but actually in Africa. Irene's exposure and experience are centered on PR, corporate communication, and development communication. She has a diverse portfolio in strategic communication and PR, ranging from environmental management to social responsibility and governance. Currently, Irene is the PR manager for the Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporation, the largest forestry company in that country. Besides our leadership role in ZIPRAC, which is Zambia Institute of PR and Communication, Irene is also a member of Africa Regional Council of the Global Alliance. Welcome, Irene. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter, for that thorough introduction. And yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people on this seminar from various regions of the world. So I can go ahead, Peter. Just to give
Yes, you go ahead. We can hear you very well. Go ahead.
Thank you. I mean, just to give a few insights into this very interesting topic and adding on to what the other two presenters have already stated. And I really hope as young professionals, you are happy and confident to be in this profession, because truly the future of PR is really, really bright. And I can assure you from there's so many years I have been in PR, I can say that there's a lot of joy and satisfaction to doing what we do. So yes, PR is a career, and because it provides opportunities for us as individuals to learn and adapt to different environments and sectors. I think Peter earlier was referring to the fact that sometimes one of the things we have to respond to as PR practitioners is a crisis. I think that for a typical PR person, sometimes the day does not go as planned as you thought it would be. I know many times, particularly when I was working for the environmental agency, I know many times I left home with a planned out schedule of what I wanted to achieve by the end of the day, but you get into the office and something emerges that needs PR intervention. So there's room to let it provide, for that reason, it provides opportunities for us as individuals to learn something every day and to adapt to different situations. I've been privileged to serve in the public sector from a civil society background, and now in the private sector as was introduced. And truly, from the Zambian perspective, we have seen, for instance, an emergence of PR-related training. Before, a number of us had got into PR, perhaps came from a journalism background or mass communication or media-related qualification. But even in Zambia, I can attest to you now that we do have very specific PR training programs, both at undergrad as well as postgraduate levels. And the opportunities out of that, opportunities for PR are both, whether it is in-house or PR agencies, or indeed working for yourself, as we heard earlier, are really enormous in this dynamic world we're in. I'm also glad to state that, as was stated during the introduction, for us as Zambia, we've actually scored another milestone, because in August this year, our government assented to what is referred to as the Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communications Act number 11 of 2020. So you can imagine the joy we have as a country to actually sit with a legislation that recognizes PR as a profession. Through that enactment of the Act of Parliament, the Zambia Institute of PR and Communications now has a mandate to regulate the practice of PR profession in the country. So that's an enormous opportunity for growing the profession, as well as putting value to what we do as PR practitioners. So maybe just quickly to just motivate young PR professionals on what we do. I think there's a whole range of activities or tasks that we do as PR practitioners. As I stated, the beauty about being in PR as a profession is that you can work in any sector and any organizational setting in the world. In Zambia, I can attest that we have PR practitioners in governments, ministries and departments, in the private sector, in academia, in research, in civil society movement. So the opportunities are really enormous, and this is because regardless of the nature of business an individual is dealing with, or organization are dealing with, at the center of that business is a need to communicate. So for that reason, PR then continues to play a strategic role, because we need to communicate internally, we need to communicate with external organization. Even if you decide to run your own line of business as an entrepreneur, to run that business, you need to communicate with your clients and stakeholders. So there's a huge role that PR plays in any organization because of that strategic role of communication. Allow me to just quickly pick thoughts to the conversation that we've been having here around the COVID as well as COVID period. I think we saw during the COVID period how COVID drastically changed our lives and the challenges it threw to us as communication specialists, because suddenly we could no longer do the physical meetings or conferences or exhibitions that we do as PR people. We now had to find innovative ways of dealing with that. So post-COVID, I can safely state that from the Zambian experience, COVID drastically changed the PR industry, because as experts now, we had to embrace technology in addition to the traditional means of communication that we've had as PR people. So it means that you have to be creative as a PR person to know that, yes, there might be an older generation that still wants to read the newspaper or listen to a radio for information or a popular journal. However, we now have this new media, which has provided a cost-effective as well as a powerful means to reach to millions or thousands of people at a go. Now suddenly people no longer have to wait for traditional news channels to pick news, because it's on social media. So that's innovation that we've had to deal with, to embrace without a doubt as PR practitioners, in order to remain relevant and be able to provide that specific role that we need to play in the organizations. So you can see over time, as a result of the changes that COVID brought to the PR profession, that now we have e-open houses for organizations, we have e-conferences and expos. We are meeting like this because we have now learned that you don't have to physically come together to be able to share information. So there are enormous opportunities that without a doubt we've had to deal with. Maybe also to just add for young or emerging PR practitioners, there are so many things that you can do in the field of PR. And one of the things that we have been pushing for, I know for ZPRAC as a professional body in Zambia, is that we would like PR specialists to be involved in strategic planning for various processes. That way, then we can implement PR where we are being proactive other than reacting to certain situations. So there's a place for PR as law in planning. There's a place for PR practitioners in writing several products in production. I think one of the other things that we are popularly known for as PR practitioners in media relations, that's a very significant part that we can, or role that we cannot run away from, in research, in training, of course, in internal and external engagement, and so many other things, including event management. In all this, Peter, I would basically say that young professionals need to embrace digital media to complement a traditional means of communication, because without a doubt in PR, you have to know the environment. You have to know the environment. You have to know the people that are your key stakeholders who you are dealing with, and be able to identify what the best communication method or strategy would be for reaching the stakeholders. And without a doubt, they will be varied depending on where you are and what you're doing as a PR practitioner.
Thank you very much, Irene. I picked a couple of things that are very interesting to the rest of us who are involved in this discussion. And I did see José's hand. I don't know whether José, you wanted to say something, but as you come on board, I want Irene to speak a little more about the law, because that is a very big achievement. How is the Act helping to grow the industry? I know you talked about self-regulation, which is the spirit, of course, but you may want to just tell us slightly more about what exactly the law is helping in terms of building and fortifying PR in Zambia. And probably, I don't know whether José, you wanted to add something so that she can check both. No. Oh, you're good. Okay, Irene, there you are.
Peter. So yes, we are very excited in Zambia that as I said, that we are regulated by an Act of Parliament, the Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communications Act number 11 of 2022, what that does is that, first of all, what the first thing it did is that it transformed the professional body. Previously, we were called the Zambia Association for Public Relations. We are now an institute. But most importantly, it has come to cure a common problem that we had in Zambia. Remember the fact that perhaps one of the challenges that PR has had, I don't know about other countries, but for Zambia, is that we had people with non-PR qualifications holding on to PR jobs or positions. Well, it is good and bad. I know as individuals, sometimes we adapt to the environment, we apply ourselves, we learn. But the problem with that is that where you have issues of non-adherence to ethical standards in PR or practice, it was very difficult for us to deal with how we can then address a non-complying member. So the law does a lot of things. First of all, what the law has done is that it has now given us a 6 months transition period to allow members to prepare for the enforcement of the law. So come next year, what ZPRAC, the PR Institute, will be doing is that for you to practice public relations, to hold a PR portfolio, in fact, to practice public relations, to run a PR agency in Zambia or any form of PR activities, you need to be registered with the Institute. So what that translates into is that for individuals, for instance, that want to work for PR, that want to hold PR related jobs, you need to get a practicing license from the Institute. So we are going to do a transition period. In fact, one of the things that we have been doing in the last few weeks is to find a means of accommodating perhaps colleagues who may be holding PR positions without PR related qualifications, to offer them some sort of a bridge training program, short courses. However, going forward, what this law means is that for you to hold a PR portfolio in Zambia, you need to have a PR-related qualification. You need to get a PR certificate from ZPRAC, which should be renewed annually. It will also provide us as an opportunity for an institute to now enforce a code of conduct and standards in PR practice. For us, that's a huge milestone, because then we can use processes such as this one to provide capacity enhancement for our members, but more so to raise the standard of PR practice by ensuring that our members are getting the right qualifications, the right post-training skills in basic PR skills that we need on a daily basis, whether it is writing, public speaking, and related issues, to make us relevant to advancing the practice of PR. So yes, Peter, we are excited about it. It has changed how we will practice public relations in Zambia, but most importantly, it has raised the bar for PR practice, because then you don't have a situation where somebody would be picked from whatever profession and put in a PR position for purposes of just filling that position. Now there'll be a code of ethics that we can enforce and standards in PR practice in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is really a milestone. I believe our profession should not be different in terms of regulation from others like medicine. I cannot start an hospital unless I am trained as a doctor, law, and so many others. So here in Kenya, we are also working on a bill. It's been work in progress for the last 3 years, but we hope we'll have that law in the next 3 or so months with a new government in place. Thank you very much, Irene. So we want to listen to the last panelist, and then we will open our discussion. I've seen a lot of questions that have come through. Our last panel member is Hemant. And Hemant is an education leader based in Mumbai, India, and is passionate about education, policy, and media. After graduating from the India Institute of Management, he has counseled several private, social, political, and government initiatives. He is a co-founder and director of Citizens of Accountable Government, a team that spearheaded the national election campaign of India's current Prime Minister. After that, he co-founded and is actually dean of India's only institute dedicated to education and research in PR. It's called School of Communication and Reputation. In 2019, he became the first Indian to be conferred as a fellow accredited public relations practitioner by ASEAN PR Network. ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asia Nations. In 2022, he was named among 40 young Turks of India by Reputation Today magazine. We would like to listen to Hemant, and he has presented a video. I think we can get that video.
Good evening, and my greetings to all members of the Global Alliance and the students and young practitioners who have joined us today. A big thanks to the Global Alliance for organizing this incredibly useful theme for this month, and also my thanks to Ms. Anna Pista for the invitation. My name is Hemant Gaule, and I'm a part of the School of Communications and Reputation in India. We are an institute of PR based in Mumbai, India. And I'm going to take about 10 minutes to talk about my take on careers in PR in 2023 and beyond, and how you all can prepare better for it. And I'm happy to take some questions from the moderators and the audience after that. So careers in PR and beyond will be largely defined by two major milestones, which is first is the economic bear run of the 2010s and the bull run thanks to the pandemic that followed right after. Both had some long-term effects on the way organizations define reputation and therefore what they expect of reputation engineers like ourselves. So during the economic boom, for example, organizations grew in terms of growing geographically, in terms of growing in terms of their revenues, and in the terms of the people that they hired as well. As a consequence of that, their definition of reputation was driven mostly by optimism and towards growth. Due to the slowdown in the pandemic, organizations started defining reputation more in terms of business continuity and sustainability, and to a great extent, the purpose of the organization and the role they played in the society around them. So it went from sort of an optimistic approach to a pessimistic approach. That means that the PR consultants of today are having to reconcile that optimism up until 2019 and the pessimism of 2022. And the PR consultants of tomorrow will have to integrate the cautious optimism of tomorrow. So for young professionals like yourselves, there are 5 key trends that will define careers in PR in the near future, and the implication of each trend as well of how it will define the way we practice PR. And for that, I'd like to take a few points of my slideshow here, and I'm going to talk about each trend individually. The first trend that will influence the way we deal with PR careers in the near future is the fragmentation of influence. Back in the day, the influence that we wield was isolated, and from a few large journalists or opinion leaders, they would shape the opinions, and their influence was also spread through only a handful of platforms. Now, anyone who holds a smartphone has their own circle of influence and their own degree of influence within those circles. There's also been a resurgence of citizen journalism that we have seen. So for brands, this trend means that it's an asset and a liability. An asset because brands don't have to rely on few sources of influence and can reach out to more stakeholders by leveraging a wider net of influencers. So the PR advisors of tomorrow, like yourselves, will have to learn how to work with fairly small-sized influencers instead of a few large ones. So you'll have many influencers to work with their own circles of influence rather than a few large ones. And you will have to learn to integrate them into your campaigns as well. It's also a potential liability because what it has done, it has created, increased the sources of threats for a brand. An upset customer or an unhappy employee can today go to Instagram and LinkedIn and really call out an organization and create some kind of a threat of a crisis for that brand, which means that practitioners of tomorrow will have to keep their ears to the ground all the time and to be really on top of trends and happenings around them. And you'll have to learn to use all kinds of listening and tracking tools in order to be able to do that. The second key trend is how complex measurement is becoming, specifically how difficult it's becoming to measure the impact of PR outcomes. To begin with, it was complex enough to measure earned media outcomes, and with the advent of campaigns integrated across paid, owned, social platforms and earned media platforms, it's become even more challenging. The clients of tomorrow will demand to see ROI, return on investment, captured in more concrete ways. So PR firms will have to start investing in comprehensive measurement tools and architectures, and young practitioners will have to learn how to use them. As a side note, November is the AMIC measurement month. So the International Association of Measurement and Evaluation of Communication celebrates November as the measurement month, and they organize a number of activities across the globe which talk about measurement and what's happening in the world of measurement of PR. And it might be good for you to maybe check out their website and look at some of these events. The third key trend will be with regards to technologies and how we harness the power of technologies, from simple tech-driven tools such as social listening tools to complex ones such as those based on artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality. AI tools are increasingly being used, for example, by communications professionals to automate processes or to do them at very large scales, to send unique messages to various stakeholders, for example, and even to write brand new articles. We saw during the pandemic also that VR and AR tools are extensively used for interactions to compensate for the lack of physical events. So the PR professionals of the near future will have to understand how to use these tools and to deploy them at large scales in various campaigns. It doesn't mean that you need to learn coding or to really understand the fundamentals of these tools. You just need to be able to spot the technology, identify its use case, and identify and work with subject matter experts who can help you create a version of that for your campaigns and to mobilize them efficiently in terms of time and money. The fourth trend is the advent of purpose-driven communications. This is a trend that we have seen earlier as well, and it has been substantiated by ECO's World PR report that came out, I think, last week. And what that refers to is that stakeholders now are increasingly demanding organizations to stand up for their social conscience. And depending on their response, stakeholders might boycott or boycott the brands. Boycott referring to not buying from that brand anymore, and boycott referring to buying or patronizing only brands which stand up for their purpose. So PR professionals will have to learn to understand what is the purpose of the organization that they represent and how it translates into impact. PR professionals of tomorrow must also have the courage to tell their clients to do what's right and to do what's right from an ESG perspective. They must also be able to give the same courage and confidence to their clients when their clients are in doubt. And what's interesting about this trend is that we have seen this trend with Gen Zs more than any other demographic. So Gen Zs are more conscious of what they want from the brands they work with, and they're not afraid of penalizing brands that don't stand for their purpose. And at the same time, they reward the brands that do stand for the purpose and create the impact that they are meant to. Which brings me to my next point in terms of the trends that will impact PR careers in 2023 and beyond, which is that Gen Zs will drive our communications. Now, this demographic is the fastest growing consumer group, especially in large countries like India. For example, young millennials and Gen Zs form the biggest part of India's workforce. And India is also home to the largest millennial population in the world, which means that organizations will have to primarily cater to what the Gen Zs think and feel and what their aspirations are. And they will have to invest in trying to understand this group, appreciate what their preferences are, and respond accordingly. Only organizations that are able to do that really well will thrive, and they will rely on PR practitioners like yourselves to help them understand that. India, for example, was a place where most consumers were price conscious up until maybe 10 years ago. And over the last 10 years, we have seen that shift in mindset from price consciousness to social consciousness. And we see that trend happening in a lot of other countries as well. So the good news is that you belong to the Gen Z and you are in a good position to counsel your clients on what needs to be done. And you are in a good position to understand some of these traits that identify Gen Zs, including a very strong belief system, a courage to stand up for that belief system, and therefore you are in the best position to understand your stakeholders and counsel your clients in doing the right thing. In addition to these, at an industry level, there have been some positive indicators as well during the pandemic. In India, at least, we saw that PR was one of the few industries where layoffs did not happen. At least they did not happen at the scale at which they happen in other countries. And I expect that to continue. This is also something that's mentioned, that's a key highlight of the Eco World PR report, that profitability is likely to continue. And that brings me to the end of my take on what the key trends will be and what the PR careers in the near future will look like. And now I'm happy to take the questions.
Okay, thank you very much. We are doing very well in terms of our time as per the schedule. And we would like now to allow interaction with the audience. I've received several questions, but before we go straight into these questions, I would like to ask José, because we are speaking with upcoming practitioners. Can you give us the synopsis of your journey from, college to your present, work, what you're doing now as a very senior trainer and consultant? Just walk us through that in 5 or so minutes. José?
Please repeat the question, Peter. I couldn't hear you properly.
We want to at least encourage the young practitioners.
Yes.
That is the journey we walk through. And all of us here started at early careers, after university or college, and we grew up to where we are. So just give us a quick synopsis of yourself from college to early employment.
Sometimes it's very difficult to speak about ourselves than speaking about others. When I started my career, I had a shortage of training. So if I would start again, I would come back to my first steps in the public relation industry. I could be better prepared to face challenges, especially in the field of management, because we want to be at the C-suite level. So we want to be big bosses in our companies. But sometimes to be a good PR professional is not enough. We need to be good managers. That means to have the training, the best training to act as a leaders, to act as a managers. So I had to train a lot my managerial skills to be part of the executive committees of the companies I was working for. And another learning from my career is I learned a lot being part of the Spanish Association. So sometimes we think this is too much corporate, and sometimes we are reluctant to participate in corporate association or in corporate think tanks or in corporate entities. And I think they are very, 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 very interesting for providing us knowledge, network, relationship, contents, and it's very important as well, a strong reference, a strong professional reference. And I think I was very lucky having the opportunity to chair the Spanish Association of Communication Executives, and also, of course, it was a huge privilege to be chair of the Global Alliance. I encourage young people to participate in this kind of association and forums because there is a lot of knowledge there.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, a question has been posed to us, and I think we have 3 Global Alliance board members, Anna, José, and myself, and actually the administrative officer is here also. So the question is, I am so passionate about on how communication is done. The biggest problem is that fresh graduates lack internship opportunities. How best can the Global Alliance help to ensure we are offered internship quickly so that we start practicing and sharpening our skills immediately we leave university? This is from Christopher Ferry. Any of us can respond to that. Anna, would you like to take that?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. Global Alliance is a network or an organization that, reaches out to the young professionals and the students. And that's why we're celebrating the Student and Young Professional Practitioner Month. And raising that issue, I think it would be great to have like a job posting to be initiated by Global Alliance na instead of job posting in our site and in our social media channels, gathering all this together globally or worldwide, we will, post the opportunities for internship. As what Roksana said, you can look for jobs outside of your country. And because of the Internet of Things, digitalization, things are, the world is becoming smaller and smaller, and everything can be done, efficiently. So in terms of internship, we have accepted and embraced the work from home atmosphere. Then the interns could also do the same. We can, ask our organization or the members of our organizations to actually join hand together to accommodate interns in our organizations, the brand that we belong to, the agencies that we work with, and the other organizations that we are, participating with. So there's a lot of openings and opportunities for young students and young practitioners to be able to enter the world of PR. And internship is really an issue. In the Philippines, we are actually thinking of doing the same on how to accommodate all these communication practitioners to be able to really learn, not just, getting the hours, just posting the hours that was used, but really giving time for them to learn through internship in this organization. So I should say, as a Global Alliance Director, Peter is here, Mr. R. King, José Velasco is here. We'd be more than glad to accommodate this kind of opportunities in order to reach out for the students and young practitioners.
Anna and Peter, I would like to say that obviously when you study journalism, you like to work on journalism, and at the very beginning you are looking for a job as a journalist. But I think we have to be in our profession, we have to be open-minded. That means that I studied journalism, for example. I can work as a journalist, but I also can work as a PR professional. I can work for internal communication. I can work for the legal department as governance to manage governance issues. So this profession is wide at this moment. We have a lot of, I think, a wide range of opportunities that are related to our profession, but we have to open our eyes, to open our mind, and to look for these other opportunities. Not only the jobs we have prepared and we have trained for those.
I would like to add maybe on that as well, because I studied law and economics, so I am not PR.
Good example.
A theoretician, let's say. But also, I think that it's good to join. I'm a corporate person totally, so I encourage you also to apply to corporations, because within these big companies, you can find your path. You can start as as a specialist somewhere, but then you can grow and you can become a communication professional, for example. So also take a look at the companies, at the whole. Maybe there are some industries you are interested in. So yeah, be open-minded and just take a look at all the opportunities you might have, because you never know what's going to happen later, right? So it's that's my advice.
And you can apply through internet. That is the natural way to apply. But you can also send a letter to the CEO of the company, telling him or her that you want to work for this company, you are available, you are willing to give to provide your capacities, your skills. You have to be brave and to do different things, not only to apply through internet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And I also want to add that Global Alliance works with member associations. And here in Kenya, Public Relations Society of Kenya, of course, is a member of Global Alliance. And that association has an internship program, which is done through the Association of PR and Communication Management Firms. So we have set up a structure where the PR and communication management firms, who themselves are also members of PRSK, have structured internship for students. And I think that can be exported to the rest of the associations that are members of Global Alliance, so that we provide as many opportunities for internship as possible to students. All right, many questions. This is from Dafine Pascolani, I hope I pronounced that right, from Far Eastern University in Philippines. And she is asking, is the shift to digitalization helping the PR industry, or it is more of a challenge than help? And I think we can pick that. End of the panelists. Irene, would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you, Peter. I think that it is really helping the PR profession, other than being a hindrance in that regard, because if you looked at the processes leading to the traditional means of communication, let me just pick on the example of trying to get an article printed in the newspaper. First of all, depending on your level within the organization, you generate the article, you get it approved, you send it to the newspaper, you wait for the production time for that newspaper. So more than likely.
Oh, sorry. Looks like there is an internet.
Compared to new, yes, compared to new media now, with new media, you can actually get information out in basically minutes of approval, and to a larger audience. You know, some of the traditional means of communication have a confined means of outreach. So it has provided a lot of creativity, I would say, to PR persons to be able to tap into different tools and more. And also let's bear in mind the fact that the human eye and mind loves creativity. So with the digital means of communication now, you can play around the graphics to attract attention to your message. We all love something attractive to listen or see. So I think that, in my view, I think that it is actually provided as a more creative, cost-effective, as well as faster means of reaching out to a larger audience than would have been the case with traditional means of communication. Thank you.
Fully agree with Irene. When we are talking about digitalization, we are not talking about the future. We are talking about the present. Communication is in the center of digital transformation. According to Peter Drucker, that is the guru of management, the main change we are experiencing in that period is the empowering of individuals. Technology has empowered individuals with the power of communication, and people are using that power to drive their decisions. So communication is in the center of digitalization. Communication is in the center of transformation. And for many companies as well, transformation is not a technological issue, it's a cultural issue. And as is a cultural issue, a lot of communication is needed. And it's also about creativity. It's also about automatization or machine learning. We are in a new era of automatization, but because of that, creativity, as Irene has mentioned, is a very, very, very important skill. So as PR professionals, I think we are, some ways, we are better trained to be creative people. So we have to take advantage of this skill to have a better positioning in our companies, a better positioning in our markets.
Thank you very much, Roksana. I can see your hand is up.
Add something to the topic as well. Because I had panel discussion on Friday about technology, PR technology, actually, and it fits perfectly. Because I admire what you've said, José and Irene, before. So it gives technology and digitalization gives us a lot of opportunities, much more channels to use when communicating to people. But on the other hand, with so many channels and so many tools, we might be lost and we might lose the the thing we wanted to communicate. So we need to be smart here. There are a lot of tools we might use as PR communication specialists just to be more effective at work, right? Some spreadsheets, some, I don't know, some applications just to work faster and better. But on the other side, we need to be still focused on what is more important. So just, the message we want to share with people. So that's, so people are the key, and I will just highlight that through the whole discussion. Yes, so that's digitalization can help us, but also there are some threats we need to be aware of, I would say.
Yes, Roksana, for us as communicators, our raw material is truth, and truth is really very threatened in our environment. So it's also an ethical approach to our profession. We are in the center of an ethical debate about truth. So it's all about truth.
Yep, and probably say while on that, you may want to touch slightly on what we are doing at the Global Alliance in terms of pushing for a new sustainable development goal that will actually address issues of truth, fake news, and all that. Probably you can say something about it.
Yes, in the Global Alliance, I think we can contribute to achieve the sustainable goals of UN, and we are calling our members to support a new call to the UN, to United Nations, to create a new goal. And this new goal is about responsible communication. Because we think responsible communication is a very critical tool to achieve the other goals. And we are in a very complex environment. Hemant was mentioning about that, and we need strong references. We need strong references. We need strong ethical values. We need to refer always to the truth, and it's important to achieve all the UN goals. So we are encouraging all our members to support this call.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we are sending strong messages of advocacy to have the global associations, country associations as well, endorse that goal. And it's a big step by Global Alliance. Many questions have come. There is a question from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, and is saying, working in communication often appeals to me as a cool, cool job due to how TV shows portray them. Is that the reality? He says that we seem to be enjoying ourselves very much in our job. He's asking whether that is the reality. Yeah, let's take it up.
Yeah.
Who would like to start?
Yeah.
Okay, Hannah.
All right. I think this question was also somewhat asked yesterday. And I just reiterated that the job of a PR practitioner is 24/7. So when you say 24/7, and we are not routinary, we're not doing our works routinary, like, when you go to the bank, you start at 9 o'clock and then you go home at 6 o'clock. In the PR world, it's 24/7. When crisis hits, even if you're sleeping, you have to wake up and, craft some messages for a critical situation for a brand that you are handling, for example. So is it chill? Is it happy? I think 2 years ago, I encountered this research that says the most stressful job in the world is PR, working in a PR environment, but it is also the most rewarding job. So it's an yin and yang, it's the most stressful but most rewarding, because rewarding in a sense that you do these things that you do, crafting and sending across a message that would be relevant to your country, to your organization, to the world that you work with, the world that you live in, even your families, just like what was reiterated by Hemant a while ago. All the things that we do is creating this, sending across the changes to prepare the world for changes. And there is no other person. That's how I love PR, by the way. Sorry for my bias. That's how the world revolves around, the messages. And the best creator of messages are the ethical communication practitioners. That's why it is the most rewarding. However, it is the most stressful because, number one, if you're a writer, your pen will never rust. Number two, your ideas will never rust as well, because you go with the changes of time. We have this term traditional PR, and then we have digital PR, we have integrated marketing communications. All this did not just come in one generation. It keeps on evolving. And so to the question, digitalization is being embraced by everyone. So all materials, all messages should be crafted around this. But at the end of the day, we are to be responsible communicators. So to answer your question, it's a yin and yang. It is 24/7, the most stressful, and yet it is the most rewarding.
And the most exciting. Irene, they say
Yes,
you
yes.
never enjoy. Would you like to say something?
I want to agree with Anna and say that true. First of all, I think the rule for me, my basic principles is you need to love what you do. If PR is your passion and you like what you're doing, stay in there. For a young professional, if already you are struggling with it and it's not your thing, leave. Because it can be very frustrating, but at the same time, as Anna said, it can be very rewarding. You get the opportunities to learn something every day are enormous. PR, whether you're working for yourself or working in an organization, there's always a point of lesson. So that for me as an individual is a great benefit. So yes, it might seem glamorous with all the travels and the opportunities to meet big people that we get sometimes. But as Anna said, it can be very stressful, because when people see a successful event, hours into that event, when everybody else is sleeping, you might be at work to just make sure something else has been taken care of. So it can be a lot of work, and one needs to be ready to put in, but where there is passion and you are relevant to the process, it is extremely rewarding. I also just want to pick on something that José also talked about earlier. One is the value of networking. In PR, when we belong to a professional association and a network such as Global Alliance, you can never really get stuck with any situation. The beauty, and I would encourage young professionals or students to already belong to professional associations that provide opportunities for PR people to network. It provides you an enormous base of knowledge and resource to tap into, such that even in
Okay, sorry, Irene, we kind of lost you the last minute. I think there was a challenge with internet, but we got your point. We got your point very well. I want to share my experience of working in the film industry. I was the CEO of Kenya Film Commission, and that is the government state corporation that promotes filming and film products in the country. And I've, toured all the film festivals you can imagine, Cannes Film Festival, Hollywood, all those places. And let me tell you, it was glamorous, but lots of stress, because end of the day, you are going to work. You're not going to, enjoy the film festival like anybody else who has come for that enjoyment purpose. You must deliver products, you must show results, and you must account for the resources that you have spent traveling to Hollywood, to Cannes Film Festival, to all those places. So yes, PR looks glamorous. It is actually, we enjoy our jobs, but it comes with a lot of hard work. So for young practitioners, be ready for that. And then that actually brings in the other question which has been asked. And that is, what are the main challenges we face in our profession, and how do we go around sorting them out? Main challenges.
Peter.
Yeah.
This profession is about relationships. And my own experience, I come from a very humble family from the north of Spain. I couldn't imagine when I was growing there that I would be the chair of a global organization. And thanks to the public relations profession, now coming from a very humble family in the north of Spain, at this moment I have friends in the 5 continents, and even you in Kenya. And it's thrilling. Is for me is incredible. I couldn't imagine that future for me when I was a kid. The profession gives a lot of opportunities for us to know new things, to learn new things, and to grow with our companies. And now we are in very challenging times, and perhaps the most challenging task that we have is an ethical challenge, because it's, as I mentioned before, is all about telling the truth and building stories, trusted stories for our companies, for our clients, and for our associations.
Thank you, José. Anybody else? Roksana?
So you've said actually a lot of important things from my perspective, and I would just highlight that networking is a key. As mentioned, I studied law and economics, and I joined Polish Public Association, because I started to work in the industry, and I wanted to learn from people who are within the industry from many years, and who have this kind of knowledge or experience that I don't have. And it gave me this opportunity to first take a look at the things from other perspectives, which is extremely important. I have the same when working with people from different countries. So it enriched my perspectives, and it gave me more opportunities to grow. So I can just, we also in Poland, we cooperate with some students and with universities. We invite them to our events, and we try to share our best practices with them as well. And I think that's a good start. And whenever you have this opportunity, I would just say that please use it, yeah. And then because it's, even if it's just this webinar, it gives you some kind of knowledge. Now you see our faces, you can connect with us on LinkedIn, for example, right? And you start to build your network, right? So it works this way. So you need to be bold, you need to be brave, and just start somewhere at some point. Just it.
Excellent. Now, a question on literature.
And I wanted to add something, I think.
Okay, Anna, please, Anna, go ahead.
No, I just would like to say also that the most challenging part in our job is being ethical, because we're always offered by much money, actually, to be very honest and frank, to do something for the brands that we work with. But the thing is, just like our past president, José Velasco mentioned, it is a challenging thing. And sometimes we compromise. So as young PR practitioners, you are the future of this industry. We have to stay ethical. We have to be responsible communicators. There's another side to this, truth or trolls. It's all administered by PR practitioners, so to speak, and that's sad. But, you know, we can choose the other side, which is PR practitioners that offers and do ethical things. And that's the challenge. Now, as you go along, as you grow along with this industry, that's the real challenge, is not to compromise. Number two, equip yourself with the advent of digitalization, because, you know, if you do not adjust, you'll be left behind. That's the truth. In fact, if you do not equip yourself with the knowledge about all these digital things, then you cannot do your job well. And number three, open-mindedness to adapt, to innovate, and reinvent, because that's the only way to stay relevant in the industry. So that's what I want to say.
Right, thanks. Seo, she is asking, I am Seo, I hope it's a she or a he, or it doesn't matter. What materials should we read to stay informed and keep abreast of the latest PR trends? Which literature? Where do we get it?
Global Alliance website.
That is true. There is a lot of good stuff in the Global Alliance website.
And I would say what I'm learning from LinkedIn profiles of my colleagues, for example, because they are sharing information and I can learn from it. So I would say that you should be active on social media, unfollow people you want to learn from, and you will be up to date. And also I would say that it's just, you need to have the understanding of what is happening in the world. So I would say that newspapers too, because you need to understand what is happening in other countries, what is happening with your people, and what might be a problem or a challenge in the future. So I would say that everything, you can read everything just to be informed.
Okay, anybody else before I put in my word?
I think Mateus can announce that since it's related to the question, the month of December is an education month. So where you will be able to access all information, case studies, white papers, videos, blogs, influencer data from Global Alliance. So Mateus, can you expound on this one?
Yes. So yes, as Anna has mentioned, December and January is going to be the best of education, training, and development month. So we will be sharing more than 250 webinars that portrays all the activities and tasks of a PR professional. It is all free of charge. So you can be able to watch on demand on your time. There are webinars that's like 10 minutes, half an hour and a half. So, and focus on crisis communication, digital communication, ethics, media relations. So for sure there will be a team that you might be interested, and it's gonna be starting on December 1st, 2022, and it will be available throughout the month of December and January until January 31st, 2023.
And I like to emphasize, it is free. It's a service that Global Alliance is providing to the industry to grow our profession. Now, I would also encourage you to read, especially literature related to research on various PR, topics. There is the research that is done every year. It's called a Trust Barometer. That's a very good piece of literature. There are also big, consulting firms that publish a lot of research on various aspects of public relations. And that gives you cutting edge information on what is happening. Global Alliance does an annual survey. We call it the reputation. Mateo, you may want to talk about it, the Center for Corporate Excellence and what we do together. And all that literature is available. And it is cutting edge. It is quite up to date in terms of where we are as an industry. Mateus?
Okay, Peter, do you want? I'm gonna, Hemant, also, he recorded a message for us. I'm gonna play his message now.
Oh.
Well, thanks once again to the Global Alliance for this opportunity. I had a really good time talking to you guys. I also want to sign off by inviting you to the World PR Forum, which is being hosted in India by ourselves and our associate organizations. It's happening in the second half of September of 2023 in the southern city of Chennai. And this will also be accompanied by 2 days of our international conference called Praxis. More details will be on the World PR Forum website. So I invite all of you to try and be a part of this, because this is going to be once in a lifetime unique experience. Thanks once again to Ms. Anna Pista and to the Global Alliance. I hope I have been useful.
All right, so that is the World PR Forum next year. We're looking forward to assemble physically, because we have not been able to do it for quite a while. And so this is our opportunity next year in India. We shall be there, inshallah. Now, I would like to, as a closing session of our webinar, first to thank the 260 students who registered for this webinar. That's a big number. And as Matteo will tell you, it is also recorded and it will be made available for those who probably were unable to log in. And so they would be able to view it once it is uploaded in our website. And so I would like to ask the presenters to just close with 1 or 2 minutes, actually 1 minute, closing remarks. Then we will hand over to Matteo so that we can officially end the webinar. I will start with Irene.
Thank you, here for this opportunity to share my experience from Zambia. I just want to encourage young professionals that the PR industry is indeed bright. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot you can do. You just need to adapt yourself. You would not regret being part of this network. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Roksana?
Also, thank you very much for having me. I had the great pleasure to be able to talk to you and to talk with you. I hope that I answered some of your question. In case you have more, I'm always happy to help and to support you, because I believe that only by sharing our knowledge with other people, we are able to create a better working environment, and just to have this PR industry even better and better. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope you learned from us, and yeah, let's stay in touch, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roksana. It's nice to see you. Anna?
Oh, yes. First, I'd like to thank each and every one of our great speakers here. Thank you for your time. I know you have a very, very busy schedule, but you allowed yourself to participate and really share your knowledge on PR. And I think most of our young practitioners appreciate that so much. And I really look forward to having you again next year, and probably start some more activities that would really encourage and attract our young practitioners and our students to really build a really better industry, to really build a very promising, bright industry ahead of us. So thank you, everyone. I thank the participants, and I thank all our speakers, and of course the Global Alliance for doing this and for sharing everything that we have for all these young practitioners and students.
Thank you, Anna. On behalf of the Africa Regional Council, I would like to appreciate this. I think it's a very good opportunity for our young practitioners in this part of the world. We are honored to be part of this. And thank you, Anna, also for spearheading the entire process. Mateos for organizing all this. We really appreciate. And my team of panelists, thank you very much. You have really done well. I'm quite happy that I had very, the best presenters I could get. Also, and to leave earlier because there was something he needed to do before 2 or thereabout. And so he requested I let him go. But I also want to register my appreciation to him in his absence. He will, of course, view this video. So from Nairobi, Kenya, I'm very happy and I would like to wish you well. Thank you very much. We would like to have an opportunity for a picture. Please put your cameras on. And then I would like to hand over to Mateos.
Thank you all again for being here with us for this 2 hours webinar. Thank you for all our guests, Roksana, Irene, Anna, Peter, José Manuel, and Hemant. Thank you, Abby, for helping us, and the Ardent Communication team for helping us doing this webinar and the contact with all the speakers. And of course, thank you all students for attending a Global Alliance event. And as José Manuel mentioned and our panelists mentioned, the Global Alliance website has a lot of content for free that you can access, especially articles, resources on ethics in diversity and inclusion, sustainability, the global PR and communication model, the Approach in the Future report, and also the webinars for Best of Education, Training and Development Month that we host every year in April. And the month in April 2023, there will be a new selection of webinars. And also we have this already 250 webinars for December and January, free of charge. So thank you all. And it was amazing these 2 days with discussions, and we'll sure see each other soon. And thank you very much. And I will play now the Global Alliance video for those of you who want to know a little bit more about Global Alliance.
Thank you very much. And may you enjoy welcome, everybody.
The Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management is the confederation of the world's major PR and communication management associations, institutions and training organizations representing over 350,000 practitioners and academics across 126 countries worldwide.
A not-for-profit organisation with 6 regional offices across the world, Global Alliance relies on the voluntary efforts and commitment of communication professionals to tackle common problems with a global perspective.
The Global Alliance's mission is to unify the public relations profession, raise professional standards all over the world, share knowledge for the benefit of its members, and be the global voice for public relations in the public interest.
By partnering with regional, national and international bodies to increase professionalism in public relations and communication management, this alliance works to enhance the collaborative competence of the industry among its constituents around the world.
Global Alliance is at the forefront of the representation of PR and communication management as a profession in which the importance of ethical behaviour is unquestionable. The development of a global protocol on ethics for public relations and the requirement that all Global Alliance members ratify it demonstrates this commitment to integrity.
The Global Alliance's vision is to enhance the role and value of public relations and communication management to organisations and to global society. We pursue this vision by convening and serving the profession, helping to find universal principles that unite our professional organisations and their members, while embracing diversity, inclusion and equality that enables a greater understanding within our global community.
Joining Global Alliance gives you the opportunity to engage with the world's communication professionals with free access to over 1,000 education, training and development programs, together with discounts from member conferences and organizations around the world.
The World Public Relations Forum, regional conferences, workshops and the Global PR and Communication Awards.
Network with world leaders, global members, and keep up to date on world trends, insights, international research projects, and employment opportunities with Global Alliance's digital bulletins and monthly newsletter.
Participate in our training self-assessment global capabilities framework and access to the PRSA learning platform.
Expand your knowledge, personal development and professionalism with free access to Global Alliance's public relations and communication model and the Approaching the Future annual reports.
Extensive free access to monthly focused programs such as ethical standards and best practice, education, training and development resources, global trends and communication transformation, diversity, inclusion and equality, health and well-being, celebrating the best of public relations and communications, student and young practitioner, among others.
Join universities, institutes and their graduates from around the world by securing the highest global public relations and communication accreditation qualification recognised worldwide.
Set professional standards with the global principles of ethical practice in PR and communication management and be informed with the Global Communications Report.
Join our Global Alliance Board, World Commission on Ethical Standards in Public Relations and Communications, or one of our 6 regional councils, Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, South Asia, Latin America, and North America.
So now you know, go global, be global, and join Global Alliance.
Wow. That is nice. That is very nice. Wow.
So thank you again very much and see you next year for the 3rd edition for Student Young Practitioner Month.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.